Hi, welcome to We Wine Whenever. I'm Wendy.
I'm Kelly.
We are talking about Real Housewives of Potomac Reunion Part 3.
This is it,
This
right?
is this is it. This is it for the season.
Mm-hmm.
So we start out with Mia in the back crying. She had walked off at the end of last episode, and Andy and the rest of the ladies are out on the stage. And Andy announces that the men are not coming out,
Yeah,
which
that was interesting. Well, I guess it was only Eddie and Greg. I mean,
right.
and it's not like they were involved in any drama. And based on Greg's participation this season, it's not like he was going to go deep into their relationship or anything like that.
Right. Right.
So,
It was kind of a tease, though, the fact that they were there. And well, I'm sure Greg was happy to not be going out on
yeah,
stage.
yeah.
And then Andy starts out and asks Stacy, we invited TJ to be here and you didn't want him to come. And she said, well, we're no longer together. And, we know Andy knew the information at this point. So then Wendy said, well, Eddie's here and he just FaceTimed with TJ and asked why he wasn't there. And he said that you paid him to be your love interest and you still owe him money.
Mm.
And I will say, I thought based on Stacy's reaction, that is not true. She did not react to me like that was true. She was very shocked, in my opinion, and very composed.
I'm on the fence. I don't know who I believe. I'm not going to lie. Because if I were Stacy and they said call him, I would have called him in a hot second. And I do think she was very composed, but I also feel like she was in shock. Could be she was in shock because it's a lie and she can't believe he would say that, or it could be she's in shock because it's not a lie and she can't believe he said that. I don't trust him at all, so I definitely want to believe Stacy. I feel like if it were me, I'd be like, fuck yeah, I'm calling him. I'm going to call him right now.
I wouldn't call him on camera because I think he's a loose cannon and who knows what he's going to say.
Well, that's true. That's
I mean,
true.
he may
He's
make it look
definitely a loose cannon.
right. He may make it look way worse than it is already. And if he really was being paid, then why isn't he showing the receipts?
Well, I totally agree with you because that would be easy to do unless she was paying him cash.
I mean, why would she though? Like she said, why would she? Like, she doesn't need to do that. She wasn't invited on the show because TJ was coming with her.
No, I totally agree with that. Because did you see Watch What Happens Live with her friend AJ?
AJ, yeah.
AJ, yeah. Yeah. I mean, she didn't need him. I mean, I like Stacy. I thought she was good on the show, but she didn't bring a lot. And what she did bring with TJ was like, it gave you the ick. So it's not even like that was a selling point. I like her. I'd like to see her on again. I didn't think she wanted a divorce. I didn't get the impression she wanted to get divorced. So I wonder if her husband's the one who initiated that.
I think he may have been because I got the impression too. Either that or just while we watched her go through the process, it was just really hitting her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I could see that would, be the case as well.
I definitely want to believe her. Real quick, when they were still showing Mia, and when she goes in and says, get this off of me, she says to the producers, not my kids, because they brought up her kids.
Yes.
Okay, you put your kid's paternity question on blast for the whole world to see. You did that. And you also mentioned Giselle's kids in a much worse light. So,
yeah,
you can't say not my kids. And Jacqueline never got up to go check on her. She planted her ass on that couch and she did not move. And that's your girl. And she did not once get up and check on her, even when she knew she was not coming back.
Well, I mean, they were in the middle of filming.
But they took a break. At the time, they took a break. She didn't go like see Mia in her dressing room before she left the building.
Yeah. She didn't. She definitely didn't. So even the fact when Stacy said like, I would. Then Andy said, well, we have the footage. And she's like, well, I would like to see that. And he's like, well, the problem is the camera is on Mia. And he goes, but Eddie's here. And they're like, bring him out. And even Stacy was like, bring him out. And I was like,
she said, I'm excited.
Yeah, because honestly, if she thought that that's what he was going to say, I think she was shocked. I really do.
She said TJ's hurt that he wasn't at the reunion and that they're no longer together. And he was like, it seems like he's hurt because you didn't pay him.
Right. And also she said, he didn't like the way he was shown he's saying by producers, he was shown the way that he was.
Yeah. I mean, I think they played into, I think producers are always going to play into it. But yeah, you're giving them the
material.
The material. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. He was shown, I think, exactly how he was. The ladies kept saying to Stacy, like, he's not into you, he's not into you. And for whatever reason, I think because I see her as the kind of person who believes people what they say to her unless they prove her otherwise. And until she saw it back on TV in her face, she didn't believe that this is what was happening because in her mind, he was her best friend.
Yeah. See, the problem is that I think they're both actors and I think they're both acting. So it's hard. I think that the truth is somewhere there in the middle. I don't think that they were a couple. I don't think that they had any kind of intimate relationship, and I don't mean physical. I don't know if she was paying him, but I think that he came on the show as her friend as a matter of convenience for both of them, for her to give her a storyline and for him to have exposure in the industry.
Yeah, but why not use AJ then? Because AJ is her friend. And like AJ said on Watch What Happens Live, he's an actor too.
Yeah, but maybe he doesn't need, he didn't need it. TJ, he's living the LA lifestyle. Like he must have needed it. He was talking about with Ray at Wendy's birthday party. He was saying that he was, he heard people were getting bigger bonuses than him. And so money was definitely an issue for him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. I do think it was a matter of convenience that they pretended to be in a relationship on the show. But I don't necessarily know if she was paying him.
Yeah.
She probably wasn't because
I don't think she was paying him. And I really think that she thought he was her friend. I do. But, who knows? Then we find out that, Mia left and she's not coming back. Andy asks Stacy, is it possible that you and TJ are not on the same page? And that's when they bring out Eddie. And, it's not that she thought Eddie was lying. It's just that she couldn't believe that he said that. And, that's the thing that Wendy kept saying, well, you're calling my husband a liar. And I don't really think that's what she was saying.
No. And listen, it all happened so fast.
Right.
Give her a minute to think about what just happened.
Right. Exactly. And then Stacy says to Wendy, like, listen, I love you. And, out of respect for you, I love your husband. And I don't know you two, I don't know you two to be liars. Like, I'm believing what you're saying. And Stacy said, Ashley said, for the record, there's nothing wrong with it if you did pay him. Like, if that's what you wanted to do, there's nothing wrong with it. And Stacy's like, I didn't need to pay TJ. I thought it was funny that Ashley's like, well, that's how you're going to do it. That's fine.
Yeah. First of all, who would ever admit that?
Right.
It's not fine.
Right.
So basically, Stacy, he gets the video. Andy gets the video.
He gets the video, and it's exactly what Eddie said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Andy says to, Stacy, you want to come over here and watch it? And then she's like, well, I can't actually get up. I guess the way she was sitting in her dress.
All those dresses were.
Yeah. So he's like, all right, I'll come over to you. And then Ashley's like, well, we want to see it. And Andy's like, just relax.
Yeah, relax. Like, it's her. It's about her. So she says we're all invested.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Come on, Ashley.
I know. She said that it was hurtful to see him say that and that, today she lost her friend.
Yeah.
She lost her best friend.
So she's basically saying he's lying. Stacy is now saying that TJ is just full on lying.
Right. And Giselle's saying, well, if he has Venmo or Zelle receipts or something,
Sure. And I think that Andy made a good point. Andy's like, do you think maybe, did you ever pay for a flight for him to come out here?
Right.
Did you ever, negotiate something like that? That was a good point because he could say she's paying me and it could have been in the form of that.
Right.
But she's even denying that. And listen, if the guy's got receipts, let him produce the receipts.
Well, that's the whole thing.
And if he doesn't, then he probably is lying.
Right. Because you would think if he wants to make this story stick, he's already burnt the bridge with Stacy.
Exactly.
Put the receipts out there.
Put them out.
Put them
You have
out.
nothing to lose now. You said
Right.
you're never coming back to DC. You
Right.
never want to be part of this fake bullshit again.
Right.
Put out the receipts.
I mean, I don't know how they were expecting Stacy to prove that she wasn't lying. Like, how do you prove that? How do you prove that you didn't pay somebody?
Right.
You can't.
Right.
You can't prove that you didn't do something.
Right. How wild was it that, did you watch What Happens Live?
Mm-hmm.
So it was Stacy, and I don't watch Married to Medicine, so I'm not sure what
Dr. Simone.
Dr.
Dr.
Simone
Simone's
and
husband.
her husband Cecil.
Yes.
And Walter,
was his
Kenya's
nephew.
fake boyfriend, was his. Oh,
I know.
that is wild.
That is wild. And they said that they don't think Kenya paid him.
They were very vague about it. They were very, very vague about it. Like, I don't know. You know.
Dr. Simone was really hard on Stacy, though.
She was hard on Stacy. I think in a good way, in like a big sister way, like, come on.
I didn't think so. I think,
No?
listen, I think the Married to Medicine people are just dirty.
Oh, really? See, I
Yeah.
don't watch that show. I don't know anything about them.
So I've tried to watch it a couple times, and every now and then when it's on, I'll watch it. They just go so low. Like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago it was on, and I'm watching it, and I don't remember who they said it to, but they were on a trip, and they sat one of the wives down and said, "We're just not vibing with you. You need to pack your stuff and leave."
Oh, damn.
It's like, what? Like,
Wow.
like who does that? And then they were just talking about something happened with Phaedra.
Yeah, I didn't.
So-
I don't know, but
I don't know exactly, but it sounded like Phaedra didn't go to the reunion because Apollo was there with the woman that he cheated on Phaedra with and then married, who's
and now she's divorcing him.
and now she's divorcing him. So Phaedra has bad blood with this woman to begin with.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, she already knew she was going back on Atlanta. So she's like, why am I going to go and put myself through this?
Well, that's what Dr. Simone said. She was ready to go with Atlanta.
Right.
But she's missing that reunion paycheck.
Again, it's Phaedra. I don't think she cares.
Yeah, she probably don't care.
This
Good for
is
her.
why I'm looking forward to Atlanta, because I mean, Portia's back, Phaedra's back. I hear there's some new Cynthia Bailey's back. I can't wait to see
She's a
Cynthia.
friend of, right?
Yeah, but I can't wait
Yeah.
to see Cynthia back.
No, me too. I always like seeing Cynthia in
Yeah.
any capacity we can get her.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
And then they go on a break again. Stacy, before they go on a break,
I feel like they gave this too much time on
They
the
definitely
reunion
did.
now.
They
Okay,
definitely
I'm glad
did.
you agree with me, because I'm like, I actually have it written down. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is too much.
It was too much. It definitely was.
Even when she was on Watch What Happens Live and started talking about it, she went on too long about it.
Well, Andy kept asking her questions.
I know, but I feel like that's what makes maybe she's lying too. Like, you know, when somebody says too much, typically means they're, spinning tails.
I don't know. I don't know. So they go out on another break, and then they come back, and Andy asks Stacy, what's the best-selling item you ever sold on QVC? And Stacy said jeans, and she said, because I was wearing them. And Giselle and Ashley are like giving her shade about that. Why? Because you were wearing, like, no, she was just saying that it was nothing.
Right.
Like, don't make this into something that it's not.
Exactly.
And
like, what would you have preferred her to say? A blender?
Right. Right. Exactly.
She probably meant she sold a lot of them because she was wearing them and looked good in them, and good for her.
Right. And I think that's the point that they were throwing shade about. Like,
yeah, well,
like, so then Andy brings up what happened with Karen about being found guilty. And then they show all these playbacks and everyone's confessionals and what they're saying. And Andy's like, we're going to look at this all differently now because we know. And then he goes to some viewer questions. A viewer asked, we saw Karen denying having a drinking problem and abstaining from drinking on camera all season. Has anyone here seen this side of Karen? Do you think she has a drinking problem? And they all pretty much said yes. Like, yes, Ashley said, I think she uses alcohol to cope.
Yeah.
And he then says to Jacqueline, she really came hard for you. And it was because she made that comment about her drinking, calling her up drunk. And he said, what about the 8 balloons? Like, that didn't really land. And she's trying to say that, it was good intentions, but No, it wasn't. It was shade.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
It was totally shade. She wasn't invited. There was no reason for her to be there. Then Andy says to Kay, you and Karen have been really close. And what are your thoughts on it? And she basically just said that, she was sad. And, the other question was, why do you think she decided to take this case to trial? And that's what we said as soon as we saw the tapes. And Giselle said, well, she had bad legal counsel, which is exactly what I said. And Giselle also said maybe she didn't remember what happened.
I don't know if you can say she had bad legal counsel, though, because
Yes.
I guarantee you those attorneys were like, take the deal. Take the deal. And she probably didn't. I mean, she ultimately has to be the one to make the choice. And I can't imagine any attorney, if 6 months house arrest was on the table, I mean, they should have jumped at that.
Exactly. They should have jumped at it. They should have.
Yeah.
They should have said, Karen, if you don't want to take the deal, then you sit down and you watch these body cam footage that we have. You sit down and watch this, and then you tell me you're not going to take the deal.
Right.
I mean, that's bad legal counsel because she said she hadn't seen it.
I don't know if I believe her, though. I think she saw those videos.
How could she have seen it and let it go to court?
She's Karen Huger. I think she thought she was just going to get away with this.
She said she didn't recognize herself, which, I mean,
I'm sure I'd feel the same way if I saw that.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see videos of themselves drunk, but that was...
Yeah, that was bad. I mean, and then Ray is, sitting there playing the game with her.
He is ride or die, man.
Yep.
I don't know what she's got on Ray, but that man must have done some shit in his past, and Karen is holding the bag because he is ride or die.
He is ride or die.
That's crazy. I mean, not only is he, he's by her side, he's driving her to court, but what they filmed was absolutely ridiculous. It was absolutely staged. I mean, she's in full glam,
in bed,
sprawled out on her bed,
yeah,
like she's ready for a photo shoot. And Greg walks in with tea and sits down and asks her every pertinent question that she wants to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Yeah. But I still really want to know, because then Ashley did bring it up about the journalist texting her that there was someone else in the car, and they play that footage where she says she didn't drive. Like, why doesn't... I don't understand why that question isn't asked.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
we know she had a driver.
Ashley said the journalist told her that.
Right.
She's actually on camera saying someone hopped out of the car.
Yep. She said, I didn't drive. She said that on camera, on the body cam footage. She said, I didn't drive. The security that you hired for me. Like,
right.
That's crazy.
Who is this Blue Eyes?
Right.
Is that who it was?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then, she also said that she was getting drinks with her girlfriends. And Andy's like, well, none of the girlfriends ever came forward. Like, is that true? And then Giselle says, but we don't know how much of what Giselle says is true either.
I totally agree with that. I mean, even the plea deals that could have possibly been on the table, we don't know if that's true.
Right. And she said she didn't hear it from a lawyer.
Right.
These are Giselle's word on the street.
She just said credible source. That's all she said. But who knows? She
said that she was like 4 miles from her home, and like she thought she could have made it. And I don't know. I don't know that that's true.
It does look like it was, and I'm not making any excuses. I'm just saying it does look like it was not a very busy road, not a busy road at all that she was on.
Right. I mean, if she didn't have an accident, she probably would have made it home.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Like, I mean, it's not like like you said, it's not like there's a lot of traffic going up and down that road.
Right. And Giselle and Ashley are like, just turn this off when the...
Yeah. Yeah. It was, I mean, listen, I think it was worse watching her body cam footage, though, than watching her performance, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, definitely. But then Ashley says this is a little wild, though. She happened to run into someone on the train on the ride up that said he used to work at a seafood restaurant in a mall.
Yeah.
And Karen would go every day and day drink and get drunk. I mean, Ashley just happened to sit across from this guy on the train, and he was like, you're on that show, right? I mean, that sounded a little odd. I'm sure there are people who work in restaurants that saw Karen drunk, but I don't know if this person was necessarily sitting across from Ashley on the train.
I mean, it is possible, especially, I don't know.
Maybe.
Because then Wendy corroborated it and she's like, well, that's what I was going to say.
She's got a similar experience. Right. And I'm like, damn, what is Wendy going to say? And she wouldn't say it, but that's what she was going to say.
Yeah, she was going to say
she had a similar experience.
Yeah, like she knows that, and she didn't name the restaurant, but there's a place that she would go daily and, day drink. And this was, according to Ashley, well before her mother died. So this has been going on a long time.
Yeah, so see, that was the other thing when Karen was saying that she was self-medicating with antidepressants and upping her dosage. I mean...
Well, she said that. I mean, she said she upped her dosage and then she mixed it with alcohol.
But she also said she was doing that without seeing a doctor. I mean,
right.
I don't know what the laws are in Maryland. You can't up medicine, not that kind of medicine you can't up any medicine in the state of New Jersey without a doctor's prescription. So, and of course she talks about losing her parents, which, I can't even imagine. I don't ever want to. I know I will, but
right.
I don't want to think about that. It's a long time now. You can't keep blaming that on your bad behavior. At some point, you got to start taking accountability. She just hasn't taken any accountability yet.
No, she hasn't. And then even about Wendy asks too, what about the beers in the car? Right. And that's true. What about the beers in the car?
Whose were they?
Why were there beers in the car if you were drinking champagne? You said you opened a Stella at your friend's house and you didn't like it.
So then you had champagne.
So why is there beer in the car?
Right. And one beer and one champagne isn't getting you so lit that you can't.
Well, if she drank the whole bottle and she had 2 antidepressants, could get you that lit.
It'll get you there, yeah.
Yeah. They all agreed that Karen will not do well in jail. At this point, when they were doing the reunion, they did not know what her sentence was. And even when they filmed that Watch What Happens Live, they had filmed it prior to her getting her sentence. So they didn't know that either.
Which is interesting because that Watch What Happens Live aired Sunday night.
Yeah, he filmed it early. It wasn't live.
Yeah. So why is it called Watch What Happens Live if it was literally taped almost a week before? Because the 26th, and they hadn't, they had already taped it. Because
they probably taped it. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Just call it Watch What Happens.
Sometimes it's live and sometimes it's not. Andy brings up that Mia is gone and asked the ladies how they feel about it. And they all said that it's not right, that she was standing on business all season. And now that she's being called out, she just gets up and leaves.
Yeah, because Giselle said everyone's faced their shit at reunions.
Yeah,
and like they said, like Mia talks a good game during the season, right? Like she's all big and bad.
Right.
But she can't face it. She starts crying, which I'm a crier too, but you have to stay.
Right.
And face it.
Wendy says, let the record reflect that Mia on her first season, she kind of called her out that
she said, I'm the first one to clock Mia.
Yep.
Giselle's like, you always have to say that. You always have to be the first.
I know. And then the Watch What Happens Live. We just talked about that a little bit. And I'm just trying to see if there's anything else.
I thought it was a good season. I wouldn't mind if they brought every single one of them back. But what I would like to see.
You want Mia back?
I don't want Robin back. No. I would like to see Jacqueline come back without Mia. I say bring all of them back, not Mia, but bring Jacqueline back.
Okay.
I want to see Jacqueline without Mia.
Can Jassy come back? Because
No, I want Jassy back.
Why didn't we get Jassy?
Yeah, Jassy was on the reunion for 5 minutes. No, let's bring Jassy back. Bring Kay back. Bring Stacy back.
Yeah.
I say bring them all back because they do. Like Jacqueline seemed like she was fine with every single one of the housewives.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, I think she was.
I mean, she was definitely good with Giselle and Ashley.
Yes.
So I say bring her back without Mia. I think Mia's tried out. Like,
I mean,
too many lies. It's like Brynn. We can't do it again.
Yeah, and her and Gordon were just on TikTok.
Is that what Cousin Gina sent us?
Yeah.
So I couldn't play it because at work I have my phone hooked up to a wireless speaker.
Oh yeah, so it would be loud.
Yeah,
I think it
exactly.
was I think it was TikTok. Maybe it was a reel, but whatever it was Gordon and Mia talking, and Gordon said that he withdrew the divorce proceedings in February, and because he kept making a list of pros and cons and the reasons to get married and the reasons to get divorced, and it all came back to what is in the best interest of the children. So he also made it perfectly clear that does not mean that him and Mia are getting back together. And Mia just kind of sat there and didn't say anything until, she's like, I'm glad you're clarifying that. And he said that, if she's ready to get divorced, she can file, or he goes, I can refile. He goes, I'm mentally in a good place. I'm not, working with my emotions. Sometimes it's my emotions that rule things, and sometimes it's my brain. And I'm just like, come on.
Yeah, like it is almost like elder abuse. It is almost like she's just forcing him to say these things.
I think he's just trying to save her job now at this point.
At this point, I think you're right. It's probably the only income both of them have.
Right.
So, yeah, he is trying to, but please, Bravo, don't do it. Don't have her back.
Don't bring her
Because she's just
back.
a big liar. There's
Yeah, she
nothing
is.
authentic about her. I mean, we put up with the drama, we put up with the bullshit fights, but I don't want to see anybody's fake life. Like, it's like Meredith. We don't know anything about Meredith's real life.
No, we don't.
I don't,
I don't either. I don't either. Because honestly, not Meredith so much, but when Mia came on, I thought she was going to be real because she was honest in the beginning. She told us about the plastic surgery that she had. She told us that, she was so much older than her. She couldn't figure out the math, but, she was calling herself out. And I was like, oh, okay, this is good. She's real. But no, she's not. It's all fake.
and
Even her real is fake.
Yeah, and I bet you he was doing something with that business to support some kind of lifestyle for her. And then his other siblings were like, hold up. Figured it out, got him out of the company. And that's when things started spiraling for them.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't living that lifestyle anymore.
Yeah.
So now it's like Ink was always in the picture. So now she's like, fuck it, I don't even have to hide him anymore.
Right.
You're not supporting me. I'm supporting me.
Right. Let's bring him out.
Yep.
Let's bring Ink out. So I was listening to, I didn't finish it. I was like in the middle of it. David Yontif was talking today, and he was supposed to have somebody on, but this person was kind of flaking on him. But he spent quite a bit of time talking to this person who was in the Montgomery jail that Karen is in.
Oh.
Yes. And he was giving us a little behind the scenes. And this is as far as I got. So I'm going to tell you what I know so far. So when you get there, this woman said when she got there, first of all, this is not like any place that Teresa or Jen Shaw is. This is actual prison. This is prison. This is not a camp. This is prison. You get there because it's prison. Because Jen Shaw, both of Jen Shaw and Teresa, those were all white collar crimes.
White collar. Okay, so that's the difference. It's the crime she committed determines where you go.
Well, no, I think the other issue is those were federal charges too.
Okay.
So those are like federal white collar camps.
Yeah.
This is a
state.
county. She's in a county. She's in a county prison. So the county prison, it's like our county prison. Like it's a prison.
Yeah.
You have murderers there that are waiting. You could only be in that prison for up to 18 months. So if your sentence is anything longer than that, then you wind up going to state prison, which is the same here, I believe. So it is real prison. When you get there, they shackle your hands and they shackle your feet. And as soon as you get there, everybody, regardless if you walk in there happy or not, you're on suicide watch.
Wow.
And suicide watch, what that entails is you get like a gown, but it's like a paper gown, and you are watched, like, they're on high alert with you. You are given this is where I left off. You are giving a paper spoon to eat with. And I was like, what's a paper spoon? He said she was kind enough to send him a picture of what the paper spoon is. So I now need to look up what a paper spoon is. And then once you get off a suicide watch, that's your big goal. Once you get off a suicide watch, then you get plastic utensils. But the other thing she said is that everyone does have their own bed. Like you have a mattress, but there are no sheets on the mattress and there are no pillows. And if you
What?
try, yep, if you try and make a pillow or try and, come up with something, they, clean out your cell and they confiscate it.
Why can't you have a pillow?
They don't want you having a pillow. You're not getting a pillow. I have no idea. Why can't you have a sheet? I
Can
guess
you
they
have
don't.
a blanket? Like you're just laying there in a paper gown?
During the suicide watch, yes, before you get your, like, she is probably, and the woman that is giving David Yonta this information said that when she was there was, because she went in with more than one person, there was a woman there that was like hysterical and like crying and screaming. And like, the longer you do that, the longer you're on suicide watch. So you want to try and keep your shit together so that you can at least get a real garment to wear.
Right. Yeah.
And a plastic spoon. I'm like, oh
my gosh.
Karen is not going to do well.
No.
She's not going to do well. Yeah. So it's not like, like we saw the other ones.
Right. Holy cow.
Yeah. So I thought that was very interesting.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
Well, I wish her well, and I hope she can reflect while she's in there and take some accountability. Show some remorse.
I hope so too. So
this doesn't do it.
So her sentence is 2 years. She's got 1 year suspended. They said when she gets out, she still has that 1 year suspended, right? That sentence is still there. So if she so much as takes a drink, she will wind up back in jail. And then once that time is up, then
she's a drink or drives.
Takes a drink. I don't think you're allowed to drink when you're on a suspended sentence or even on probation.
Okay.
And she's on probation for 5 years. She's got 5 years probation after she's done with her sentence.
And she's 60?
I think she's 61. Maybe now 62. She's 61 or 62.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's not going to be easy for her. I mean, if this doesn't humble her, I don't know what would.
Totally agree. I totally agree with that. I mean, listen, people are going sober all over, not because they have any issues. They're just choosing to go sober, be sober for however long they're choosing to do it,
Yeah.
So there's plenty of programs out there she can participate in. I know it's not easy, but.
Well, hopefully there's a program for her when she's in jail for a year,
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what they said. That's going to be the hardest part. So she's going to be there for a year, and obviously she's not going to have access to it. So she will be clean.
Yes, she will.
But the problem's going to be when she gets out. And if she's not getting the therapy that she needs and she's not doing the work that needs to happen, if she does, like I said, even so much as have a drink, she is going back to jail.
Let's pray Ray stays healthy.
Yeah.
Because God forbid, I mean, if she's in her early 60s, he's got to be 80.
Yeah.
Let's pray he stays healthy.
I'm sure he's heartbroken about this whole thing.
I'm sure he is. That's what I'm worried about. I mean, like I said, he's ride or die for her.
Mm-hmm. And, people are asking, do you think she'll come back? I don't think she would ever come back. Not even if Bravo would have her, because Bravo doesn't care. They would do it for the ratings, but I don't think she would come back. I just don't. I don't think she would.
I do. I think
she
would.
I don't
do.
think she would.
I don't know if Bravo would, but like you said,
Bravo would.
Yeah,
I think Bravo would. Just like I think Bravo will let Jen Shah come back.
I think they will too. I didn't at first, but I think you're right. I think that they will bring her back. I mean, what reason do they have not to? They brought Teresa back.
Right.
I mean, honestly.
Right.
They set the precedent for that. And they keep inflating her big head, Teresa. So
yeah,
bring her back. Bring Jen back.
So the other thing I listened to today is my new favorite, the Two Angry Men podcast.
Keep forgetting about that one.
I know. So they had on Mark Garrigo's, his daughter is an attorney. Did not know this. And she's on the legal defense team for Diddy. Now,
what?
I thought, and I look it up and it says that his attorney quit and that Diddy's attorney, when I say his, that Diddy's attorney quit after he saw the discovery and that he also represented Osama bin Laden. I saw all this online, but I guess that is not true. Because
I thought I remembered hearing that Diddy's attorney represented Osama bin Laden. So that's
yeah,
not true?
I don't think any of it's true. I don't think any of it's true. So she was on, obviously she couldn't say too much,
Yeah.
but what I did gather from her being on, obviously there's a huge team. And, Harvey Levin's trying to ask the questions, but, there's not much she can answer. And Mark Garagos kept kind of like, jumping in to protect his daughter to not
Of course.
But there has been, Mark Garagos asked Harvey this, I would imagine if there's any videos of that were coming out, because we saw all over the news that there was people out there shopping videos and celebrities' names were in them. And we saw this in October and November and December, and here it is 2025. I would imagine, Harvey, if those videos were available, one place they would take them would be TMZ. Like, you get videos. Harvey's like, yeah, we get videos every day. He's like, well, have you ever gotten a video with Diddy? He goes, no, not one. Not one.
That's odd.
Well, like, that's what I'm saying. It goes back to this whole media thing, and that's kind of what the attorney was saying, his daughter, I can't remember her name. All the stuff that we've seen is the stuff that's come out, that's the civil complaints. And a lot of that's been dismissed or dropped, or it was extortion. And actually, the one attorney, I cannot remember his name, that was bringing all those cases, they are going after him for slander because of what stuff he's been saying.
About Diddy?
Yes, because he put out a whole big, like, advertising campaign that we have all these victims, and if you were a victim of Diddy, come to us and we're gonna
The class action suit.
Yes. Don't you remember when that came out and they had all these, they said we have all these names that are coming, and the first one they went after was Jay-Z, and Jay-Z didn't pay up. And then all of a sudden the story changes. The father can't corroborate the story. And then the case gets dropped.
Yeah.
Like, the media plays such a big part in all of these cases.
In every aspect of our life.
Every aspect of our life. And that's what
it's
Mark
like
Garagos,
we're living in the Truman Show.
That's what he was saying. Like, he was saying the last time, like, a high profile case has been acquitted was when, one, the jury was sequestered, completely sequestered, and before all this social media, like the Casey Anthony, like, she was acquitted because there was no social media. The jury was sequestered. The original, like the Menendez, like, it was a hung jury. Like, there's just so many things that people can't get a fair trial.
Right, especially now. I mean, forget it.
And that's one of the questions Harvey was saying to her, like, are you going to ask the jury to be sequestered? She's like, well, I can't really answer that, what our strategy is. But she's like, well, everyone has a phone. So we're going to take, everyone gets their news from their phone.
Yeah.
What are we going to, like, how do you do this? Like, how do you sequester a jury?
Yeah.
And it's true. Like we said
we just talked about this.
With the JonBenet Ramsey case.
Yeah.
Like, John and Patsy Ramsey did not have a shot because they were convicted in the media. Yeah. And that was well before social media is what it is today.
Yeah.
Today, we find out wrong information instantly, and it spreads like wildfire.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, I really thought, like,
this Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, Justin Baldoni thing. Like, I don't understand. They're never going to get a jury for this. Well, they're never going to be able to get a jury.
The thing with that is that one will probably never go to trial because it's a civil thing, right? They can just settle that with money. That's all you need to do.
They can, but
that doesn't have to. Will never.
They're all suing each other now, so it's who owes who what.
That will never see a trial. It won't. It won't.
Crazy though.
It is crazy. But then you think about it, like, all of a sudden Harvey Levin and Mark Garagos start talking about Wendy Williams, and all of a sudden there's movement on that. And again, that's how it helps it in a positive way. Because had they not started talking about that, and if there wasn't that special, that would have never changed. And even with the Menendez brothers, had there not been that Netflix special and it didn't become this big social media thing,
right?
Like, that wouldn't have changed either.
Now, did you hear that there was a rooftop bar at the facility that Wendy Williams is at?
Well,
Is that true?
it's so funny.
I mean, I guess buildings in New York City are so big that there's multiple things in, like,
I
this
think
building's not just a memory care facility.
exactly. And I think that is
Okay.
I think that that's what.
Because I'm like, what? But of course, what I read was making it seem like the facility had a rooftop.
No. I think that that's exactly it. I mean, you saw the building that she was on. They're multi-story buildings. She was on the 5th floor. I'm sure the entire building is not a memory care building.
Right.
Like you said, it could be, half the building is one thing, the other half,
Yeah.
So, I mean, and
Crazy.
again, I don't even know if that even existed. It was just the point that there was access for her to get someplace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, that's what the media does. They take this little bit. And actually, this is the other thing Harvey said, and I thought this was very interesting. It was he said the Rodney King. He said he, as media, played a part in really portraying that in the wrong light. He said the beating of Rodney King there was like a 60 or 90-second video of the interaction with Rodney King and the police.
Yeah.
And there was 13 seconds of that video where all you would see is Rodney King getting pummeled. You didn't see him getting up and going out. You didn't see the rest of it. And the media would just keep playing that 13 seconds over and over and over again. So that when it went to trial and the defense attorney said, why don't we play, I want you to see the whole video. The jurors and everyone in the courtroom were stunned to see the video, the whole video, because they only got the small picture of 13 seconds played over and over and over again. That's why when those police officers were acquitted, everyone was shocked because they didn't see the whole video.
Right.
They only saw the 13 seconds that the
Right.
media played. And, this is what's going on today. Stuff like this.
Yeah. I mean, we're only seeing what they want us to see.
Right.
That's not okay.
No, it's not. It's not. But I don't know how you fix it, to be quite honest with you. Like, how do you fix
It's
it?
pretty far
Right?
gone at this point.
Right? Like, how do you even fix it? First,
Yeah.
we would blame mainstream media because all they would give us what they wanted to say. Okay, well, now we have social media. We can get whatever information we want now.
Right.
But
with
how do we...
AI and
Right.
it's
You don't know.
You don't know what's true and what's not.
You don't know what's true and what's not. And it's just so hard to tell, like, what is really going on. So, I don't know. I think it's interesting, though. Like,
It's definitely interesting.
yeah.
But like my Nana said, the internet's going to ruin the world.
Mm-hmm. You better get right with Jesus.
Gotta get right with Jesus. That's the t-shirt we need to make.
Yes, that is the t-shirt.
But we do have We Wine Whenever t-shirts, people, on our TikTok shop.
Yes, we do. We wine whenever. Well, by the way, I didn't tell you this. I'm sure we didn't get it. We got a request for Buzzsprout to run an ad, but they have to approve us. It was from the Archbishop of Paterson, New Jersey. I'm like, they're not going to approve us. We curse too much. They do not want us running their ad.
We want to use a CCD t-shirt.
I don't think they'll get
listen and be like, oh,
maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next time, thank you for watching. Give us 5-star reviews. Tell your friends. Buy our t-shirts.
Yeah. Bye.